Hey there, true crime junkies, and welcome to Unsolved No More. We've got one hell of a story for you today. One that's been simmering for nearly 50 years. We're talking about Dawn Momohara, a 16-year-old whose life was tragically cut short in Honolulu in 1977. But today, we're not just revisiting a cold case. We're bringing you the heat of justice finally catching up. So sit back, grab your favorite detective hat, because we're diving deep into how DNA technology has unmasked Gideon Castro, the man charged with this haunting crime. The crime that shook Honolulu. A community in fear. Picture this. It's a quiet Honolulu morning, March 21st, 1977. The sun is just about to rise over the Pacific, but instead, it's the police lights that are illuminating the scene at McKinley High School. Dawn Momohara, a sweet, bright student, is found dead. Her body telling a grim story of assault and strangulation. The community was rocked. This wasn't just a murder. It was a nightmare come to life in a place where everyone thought they were safe. Dawn had last been seen after an enigmatic phone call from an unknown man, telling her mom she was heading out to meet friends. But she never made it. Witnesses spoke of a suspicious man in a car near the school. But these threads led nowhere. The police were stumped. The case grew colder, and Dawn's memory became a ghost story whispered in Honolulu's shadowy corners. The investigation. A stalemate in time. The investigation was intense at first. Cops interviewed everyone from classmates to janitors, including Gideon Castro and his brother William, both of whom knew Dawn. Gideon, who had just graduated from McKinley, claimed he'd last spoken to Dawn at a carnival. A seemingly innocent conversation, but without the tech we have today, their words were all they had. The evidence, semen on Dawn's clothing, was collected, but left unexamined due to the limits of 70s forensic science. The case files gathered dust, and Dawn's killer seemed to have disappeared into the ether. The shadow of Gideon Castro. A life unraveled. Gideon Castro's life post-graduation was unremarkable on the surface. He joined the U, Army Reserve, perhaps looking for structure, or maybe, just maybe, looking to escape the weight of what he might have done. Did he think the uniform would absolve him? Or was it a way to start over? Far from the scene of his alleged crime, he lived quietly, eventually settling down in Utah, where he ended up in a nursing home. Imagine living with that secret for all those years, watching the world move on, while you carry the heavy baggage of Dawn's death. Did he ever look back, haunted by her face? Or was his conscience as cold as the case he left behind? The hunt for the killer. A long game of chess for decades. The case languished until 2019, when cold case detectives, armed with new DNA tech, decided to dust off Dawn's files. They managed to pull a partial DNA profile from that long-forgotten evidence, but finding a match after so long. That's where forensic genealogy comes into play, like playing detective with a family tree. By 2023, the DNA pointed towards the Castro brothers. William was quickly ruled out, but Gideon, his DNA was the key that fit the lock. Imagine the detectives' faces when that match came through. After nearly half a century, science had turned the tables on a man who thought he'd gotten away with murder. The arrest, a reckoning long overdue, on January 21st, 2025. Justice finally had its moment. Gideon Castro was arrested at his nursing home in Utah. His quiet life shattered by the past he tried to bury. Charged with Dawn's murder, he'll face trial back in Honolulu. LT, Dina Thomes of the Honolulu PD praised the team's dedication. But for Dawn's family, it's a mixed bag of emotions, a relief mixed with the reopening of old wounds. Speculating on a killer's mind, what was going through Gideon's mind all these years. Did he ever feel the weight of Dawn's life on his shoulders? Or was he one of those who could compartmentalize, living with a facade of normalcy? Joining the Army Reserve might have been his way of running, not just from the law, but from himself. Did he think he could outrun his past? Or was it a silent plea for discipline to keep his darkest self in check? And here's a chilling thought. Could there be other victims? With this kind of crime, one has to wonder if Dawn was the only one. Investigators might be looking closer at Castro's life, especially his time in the military, to see if there are other shadows lurking in his past, cold cases and the future. A new dawn, this case, is a testament to the relentless march of science and the human spirit's refusal to give up on justice. With each advance in DNA technology, we're not just solving crimes, we're giving voices back to those who were silenced too soon. But even as we close this chapter on Dawn's case, the mystery of human nature keeps us asking, keeps us searching. That's all for today on Unsolved No More. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more stories where justice, even after decades, gets its moment in the sun. Until next time, keep questioning, keep seeking the truth.